What's up, culture makers? My name's Riley.
And I'm Demarco.
And we are here to talk about all of the culture going on in the world today. Some things we're going to cover is Ukrainian teens creating a website, Kim Kardashian and Kanye, a little bit more drama there that we need to discuss, and Outer Banks Season 3. So with all that being said, let's just dive right in. So first off, we've got some updates from Ukraine. Russia bombs the art school sheltering 400 people, which is just really devastating.
Yeah, it's like you see so much stuff all like very frequently about this happening, and it's just like it is so hard to see, and I know a lot of people, even I feel like my friends now, we're having many discussions about what do you do? Like how can we continue to pray? And sometimes I can feel like that's it.
Right.
Like sometimes it can be like, man, I'm praying, but nothing is, is happening. And so just reminding, like I know I had a talk with my friends, just reminding ourselves prayer is still so powerful.
Yes.
And so that's the biggest thing we can do is continue to pray for them.
Yes, continue to pray. Some bright news in the midst of all of this chaos that I think is just really cool to see the teenagers of Ukraine standing up is that they created a website called Ukraine Takes Shelter, the Teens of Ukraine, and it matches Ukrainian refugees to hosts around the world. Yeah. And while obviously the reality that they live in order to create something like this is horrible, I love that they're really stepping into like, okay, well, what can we do? Right. The youth, I mean, you guys aren't the leaders of tomorrow, you're the leaders of today.
Absolutely.
And even in the midst of chaos, like these Ukrainian teens are like, we're gonna play a part in that. And so I think that is really, really cool. And again, we're just praying for that area. Yep. We are continuing to commit to staying updated, staying informed, and not forgetting about it, not being ignorant, but just like being brothers and sisters in Christ that are praying for them. And then moving on with Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. This is kind of an ongoing topic we've had. Kanye West was temporarily banned from Instagram this week after violating hate speech and bullying policy.
Kanye. Cyberbullying is a thing, man. Listen, I know he is trying to fight for his wife and his kids, but the way you go about that matters too.
Right,
Kanye.
so true.
Listen, cyberbullying is a thing.
It's not the right answer.
No, at all.
It's so hard, I'm sure, to be Kanye and Kim and
Absolutely.
Pete and just all of the celebrities of just like being under a microscope and like imagine, I mean, he's walking through this divorce, not what he wants, and so feeling all the feelings and just like having to walk through that process with like all eyes on you.
Yep.
So I'm sure that like I have empathy for Kanye and Kim and just everything that's going on.
Yep.
But yes, exactly. Kanye, cyberbullying is not the answer. It won't get you anywhere, and that's true for all of our viewers. It's just not the answer. Like I think we can have more confidence behind a screen with what we type, but we have to know that what your words actually matter. They matter when you say them in person, and they matter when you say them digitally. With that being said, Kanye West is dropped from performing at this year's Grammys due to the concerning online behavior.
Yeah, I think the overall thing about this, I think Kanye is just hurt. And sometimes hurt can lead you to react in ways that maybe he doesn't want.
Right.
And so it's just, like you said, having empathy for him and Kim and Pete, the whole thing. And I'm honestly surprised that he got dropped from the Grammys. Yeah. But like, I get it. Like, I get
there's consequences
for your actions.
Yeah. And then last week, we actually talked about how Pete Davidson was going to be in outer space. Me and Vince actually said that we were going to go as well. We wanted to go to outer space. We even promised maybe a Culture Makers in outer space. Okay. We're still working with our team to create something like that. But it turns out Pete Davidson is not going to space after all.
Yeah, do you know why he isn't going to space?
No, I don't know.
Did he just like drop the dream?
I don't know.
Pete, go to space, bro. Go to space.
You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the right thing. Just go.
Riley and Vince will still be there.
Yeah, we'll still be there.
Without you, bro.
Yeah. You can come too.
All right, I'm on the way. I was going to ask, but I didn't want to be waiting.
Okay, Outer Banks.
Okay. Oh.
It is currently filming season 3, and the cast got a massive raise from $20K an episode in season 1 to now receiving $115K an episode.
Hey, that's a raise.
Yes.
Like that's not just a raise.
No, that's a raise.
That is a raise. I still don't know what Outer Banks is. I've never seen it. When I think of Outer Banks, I think of like a seal, like an animal. Like
why?
I don't know. Like Outer Bank, like. I just think of like a seal.
So,
that's just me. I'm dead serious. I think of a seal like in the water.
What do you think that show's about? I'm just curious. Yeah, it's not about seals.
Not even. I think of like not a dentist, like a doctor, if I'm thinking Outer Banks, doctor show. operational people doing stuff.
What about Outer Banks to you equals Doctor Show?
Out of Bank? Listen, I have no idea. It's either SEALs or Doctor to me. That's
No!
a Grey's Anatomy type of show, but not that. That's where my mind goes.
Wow. I think that's actually the description on Netflix for Outer Banks.
What is Outer Banks?
It's a show about a bunch of like teenagers who live in Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Oh, that's an actual place.
It's a place, yeah.
Wow.
It's like beach.
So SEALs.
But that's not what the show is about. It's not like Discovery Planet. And there's like the lower class of Outer Banks, and that's the people you're watching. That's the main characters. And so they're kind of like the edgy, like they don't really have parents, don't have rules, pushing boundaries. Some of them have parents. It's
nothing
on
to
Netflix.
Do with SEALs or
nothing
Grey's
to do with
Anatomy.
SEALs or Grey's Anatomy. But you gave it a good shot. Next up is some sports news. Robinson Cano, I think. He's from the New York Mets, and he apologizes to fans and media as he comes back from suspension after testing positive for performance-enhancing substances for the second time in his career.
Second time in his career.
Yeah.
Well, Robinson, the good is he apologized.
Yes.
It takes one to mess up and to sit there and say, hey, listen, I messed up. And he apologized for it, so respected that. I don't know what that world looks like, but, just performance. Like, you don't want to get in trouble, man. You want to perform and do all that, so just stay away.
And being honest.
Yeah, be honest, integrity.
What's funny to me, though, is that Demarco directly addresses everybody that we're talking about when we talk about Kanye. He's like, hey, Kanye, that's not cool, man. Robinson,
listen, I'll talk to you, man to man right here.
March Madness, are you doing a bracket?
I have not done a bracket. I have never done a bracket.
Demarco, what is wrong with you?
Listen, my thing is like the chances of me actually winning are pretty low, so I just kind of.
That's exactly why you do it. Here's the thing, I don't care about basketball. They know. But I think March Madness brackets are fun because it's like, I don't know, why not? Take a risk. Yeah. And I read somewhere that like somebody who doesn't know what's going on has a higher chance of winning because they won't like be biased to like the people that are really good versus really bad. You just kind of pick randomly.
See, the thing is, I played basketball my entire life. And I still didn't make a break.
Oh, maybe next year. Next year, DeMarco's got it. But the reason why I brought it up was because Kentucky lost, and that threw off my entire bracket. And everybody I've talked to has said that that's thrown 100%. Off their bracket, too.
Who do you have winning the national team?
Kansas.
That's random. Okay.
No, it's not. They're the first seed in their area. So I think I put the winning score as like 108 versus 98. So if that happens, I just won a lot of money.
She called it.
Yeah. She called it. All right, moving on to our favorite part of the episode, student questions. So if you ask questions down below, we may answer your question in a future Culture Maker episode. Mm-hmm. So Varosh asked, how do you find your God-given purpose?
That is a really good question, and I think a question I have asked myself. So when I looked at the question, I thought through, well, how did I figure out my purpose? How did I figure out where I am today? And I think it's surrendering to the Lord and asking Him what He wants for your life. Yeah. I think it's falling into the will of God and knowing that He will not steer you wrong. Mm-hmm. The thing is, though, it may take a long time.
Right.
It may cost some patience. It may lead you to not knowing the next step or the next step. But just knowing that He will guide you and He will not steer you wrong.
Yeah, that's good. I think some tips or pointers that I would say is probably think about what are the things that make you passionate or excited. What are things that you're doing that you find yourself feeling like, oh, I'm really excited to show up the next day and do this, or this thing specifically is something that lights me up, energizes me. So think through some of those things, and there you may find maybe an avenue where you really could excel. Maybe if school is something where you genuinely you thrive, you love school, you love learning, you love education, then maybe an avenue for you is to be a God-honoring teacher or professor. Absolutely. Or just doing a profession that involves a lot of school, just kind of going down that path. Another good question, or another good tip, I guess, is to be prayerful. Like you said, seek out the Lord's will. And so, like we said on the top of this episode, is there's power in prayer. So really just opening your heart and surrendering your your schedule to the Lord and seeing kind of what doors He opens. And then that brings me to my other point. This is something that I kind of use because I didn't feel called to ministry at the age of 12 and just knew I was going to always be in youth ministry. Actually, I was a senior in high school. I just graduated and I had applied to UCO and I was going to go to UCO to be in the FBI. That was my dream job. That was my dream job.
Oh, right.
But the Lord redirected my steps clearly and I get to be in youth ministry. I do believe that God opens doors and God will close doors. doors.
Yep.
And so sometimes the best thing we can do is just walk through an open door and see what happens.
Yeah.
And if like you go to interview for something or you go to apply for something and you don't get it, then ask God, maybe you need to try again. Maybe it's just timing, or maybe that's a closed door and it's a different opportunity. And so just kind of staying open and flexible and choosing to walk through open doors. And then my biggest pro tip for you is don't feel like you have to have it all figured out. You do not have to figure out what your God-given purpose is, like with your profession and like your calling and everything specifically at the age of 17. Like you do not have to have it figured out. I think even there's parts of our callings that we probably don't have figured out even now. Like God unfolds things at the right time. And so just know that if you wake up every day and you are living a life that honors God and you are chasing after God's will and doing your best, then you are going to end up where God has destined for you to be. And even if you mess up, like God can still use it. God knows everything. He knew what was going to happen. He knew you were going to mess up. He knew you were going to go off the path, but he just wants you to come back home and your purpose, you can't ruin your purpose. You can't ruin your calling.
Come on, somebody.
Just seek after the Lord. So
can we get a come on by James?
Come on!
Can you get a come on pastor in the comments too?
Come on, somebody.
Oh my
on,
gosh.
somebody. She just went off.
Okay, our last question for today is a student asked, how do you overcome the awkward phase in meeting new people?
That is so real. Goodness.
Yeah.
I will speak from my perspective, and I bet Riley will go off again.
Well, I don't know.
I think 2 tips for me. One is, I think mentally knowing that it's probably not as bad as you think it is. Like
true.
I think in your mind, you're like, I'm so awkward. This is so bad.
So true.
And you're overthinking it. The second thing I think is being yourself, despite if they will like you for you or not. Because you never want to try to fit into who your crowd is by not being fully you, and they like you for a persona that you're not.
Yeah.
And so that's my 2 biggest tips.
I love the idea of like, it's not as scary as you actually think it. You're not being as awkward as you think you are. We're kind of our own like biggest critics. And remembering that the person that you're going to meet, that you're going to like introduce yourself to or want to become friends with, that person is also nervous and also scared.
Absolutely.
I think we all are nervous, and sometimes people see like, oh, they look really confident, so they're not nervous.
Lord.
That's not true.
At all.
That is not true at all. Like I get nervous, Demarco gets nervous, we all get nervous. And so just knowing that, like, so for me, that helps ease the like
the
scare.
nerves.
The nerves. That's what I was looking for. It helps ease the nerves because it's like, okay, they're also kind of nervous. And just like stepping right into it, like just getting it over with, like that first initial like, hey, like my name is whatever, you know, like that's the worst part. You know, once you're done with that, then you could have a brand new friend. And so just put yourself out there, and if you do have an interaction that just like went really weird and like you just feel like it went horrible or whatever, that's okay. Like there are plenty of people to become friends with, and it probably, again, wasn't as bad as you think, so just keep putting yourself out there. And I just wish we could go back to the days where, like, in 5th grade, in elementary school, you just walked right up to somebody on the playground and you said, hey, Demarco, you want to be my friend? And then you'd be like, sure! And then it's like, let's go swing, you know? Well, that's all we have for Culture Makers. Again, leave your questions in the comment section. We'd love to answer your questions in future episodes. And with that, we will see you next week.
Peace.